Well, in other news, Hamas is changing its position in the hostage negotiations yet again. This comes as a new report details the abuse hostages have suffered at the hands of the terror group. CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl reports.
Israel's health ministry submitted a report to the United Nations this week documenting the testimony that comes from former hostages about the physical, sexual, and psychological abuse they suffered in Gaza. Women, men, and children say the abuse included beatings, isolation, deprivation of food and water, branding, hair pulling, and sexual assault. Natan Sharansky, who spent 9 years in Soviet prison for spreading the truth about human rights abuses in the former Soviet Union, told CBN News the report exposes the hypocrisy in the world's thinking.
Women's organizations who are not ready to accept that if rapists are from the oppressed and the raped women are oppressors, then it's not a crime in their eyes.
Sharansky says the report is hard to read.
It can remind people why our struggle is so justified and why we are not ready to stop the struggle as long as our hostages are in their hands and as long as our security is not guaranteed.
In the negotiations to free the remaining hostages, Hamas is demanding a week-long ceasefire and several days into it says it will release a partial list of hostages still in Gaza. Israel's defense minister threatens more war if Hamas doesn't start freeing hostages soon.
The IDF will intensify and strengthen its activities against the nests of terrorism in Gaza until the hostages are released and Hamas is eliminated.
Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
We need to stand with Israel and stand until these hostages come home. And I remind everyone, there are Americans in the hostages. That doesn't seem to be reported widely, but there are American citizens in those tunnels in Gaza. And it's truly amazing to me that our government hasn't taken a stronger stand. We need to take that stand to say, no, this is absolute evil. There is no legitimacy to their claims that somehow Israel was oppressing them. There were no IDF soldiers in Gaza before October 7th, none at all. Gaza was left to govern itself. That was all engineered by the Bush administration. All the way back in 2006, they had free elections, and the expectation was if you introduce liberty and freedom and democracy, people will vote for freedom and they want to have their children, their grandchildren prosper. All of that was turned on its head when they elected Hamas to lead them. The first thing Hamas did, they executed all the leaders of Fatah. They took them to the top of buildings and threw them over and killed them. That's how they executed their political opponents. And then they canceled elections. Said, no, not anymore. We're going to run this place. What did they do with all the international aid? Well, they put it in rockets, into guns, into tunnels. None of it went to the people of Gaza. None of it went to those citizens. Before October 7th, there was a survey from Stanford University that showed massive food insecurity. That means hunger in Gaza, all before October 7th. So to blame humanitarian crisis on Israel, to blame Israel for this, Israel's the victim of what Hamas has done. And we need to stand with Israel until this horror is finally over. Hamas is defeated forever, never allowed to reemerge from any tunnel anywhere, rearm, do anything. No more. And I applaud the incoming president for saying, if they're still there, you can expect something to be unleashed that you have no idea. Let's see that come to pass, that we finally have our citizens